Chapter 8, Part 4. When we left off, both Lily and Zach were in Clayton Forest Law Office, dropping off honey. Zach had just gone back with Clayton Forest because he said that he had something for him, and Lily is out in the lobby arranging honey. I went over and inspected the pictures that covered one whole wall. First was a diploma from the University of South Carolina, and then another one from Duke University. Next was a picture of Mr. Forrest on a boat, wearing sunglasses and holding a fish about my size. After that, Mr. Forrest shaking hands with Bobby Kennedy. Last, Mr. Forrest and a small blonde-headed girl standing in the ocean. She was jumping over a wave. The spray made a blue fan behind her, a peacock tail of water, and he was helping her, lifting her up and over it with his hand, smiling down on her. I bet he knew her favorite color, what she ate for afternoon snacks, everything she loved. I went and sat on one of the two red sofas in the room. Williams, my made-up last name, finally came to me. I counted the plants in the room. 4. The floorboards from the desk to the front door. 15. Closing my eyes, I pictured the ocean stretched out the color of fresh, polished silver. The white froth on it, light scattering everywhere. I saw myself jumping a wave. T-Ray held my hand, pulling me up and over. I had to concentrate so hard to make this happen. 32 names for love. Was it unthinkable he could speak one of them to me? Even the one reserved for lesser things like peanuts and your Coke. Was it so out of the question that T-Ray knew I loved the color blue? What if he was home missing me, saying, why oh why didn't I love her better? Miss Lacey's telephone sat right there on her desk. I picked up the receiver and dialed 0 for operator. What is she going to do? I'm making a collect call, I told her, and gave her the number. Almost faster than I would have believed, I heard the phone in my house ringing. I stared down the hallway at the closed door and counted the rings. 3, 4, 5, 6. Hello? His voice caused my stomach to pitch into my throat. I was unprepared for the way it buckled my knees. I had to sit down in Miss Lacey's chair, spraddle-legged. I have a collect call from Lily Owens, the operator said. Will you accept the charge? You're damn right I'll accept it, he said. Then, without waiting for me to say pea-turkey, he launched right in. Lily, where the hell are you? I had to hold the phone for my eardrum for fear of him rupturing it. T-Ray, I'm sorry I had to leave, but you tell me right now where you are. Do you hear me? Do you have any idea the trouble you're in? Busting Rosalind out of the hospital. Holy shit, what were you thinking? I'll tell you what you were. You were a damn fool who went looking for trouble and found it. Because of you, I can't walk down the street in Sylvan without people staring at me. I've had to stop everything and search for you all over creation, and meanwhile, the peaches have gone to hell. Well, quit yelling, all right? I said I was sorry. Your sorry ain't worth a shitload of peaches, Lily. I swear to God. I called because I was just wondering something. Where are you? Answer me. I squeezed the arm of the chair till my knuckles hurt. I was wondering, do you know what my favorite color is? Jesus Christ, what are you talking about? You tell me where you are. I said, do you know what my favorite color is? I know one thing, and that's I'm going to find you, Lily, and when I do, I'm going to tear your behind to pieces. I lowered the receiver back to the cradle and sat on the sofa again. I sat in the brightness of the afternoon and watched the hem of light under the Venetian blinds. I told myself, don't you cry, don't you dare cry. So what if he doesn't know the color you love best? So what? Zach returned, holding a big brown book that looked half moldy with age. Look what Mr. Clayton gave me, he said. And honestly, you would have thought it was a 6-pound baby he'd birthed by the proud look of him. He turned it over so I could read the binding. South Carolina Legal Reports, 1889. Zach rubbed his hand across the front, and little flecks of it fell off onto the floor. Starting my law library. That's nice, I said. Mr. Forrest stepped closer, staring at me with such intensity I thought I must need to wipe my nose. Zach says you're from Spartanburg County, that both your parents died? Yes, sir. One thing I didn't want was to get on the witness stand right here in his office and have him fire lawyer questions at me. An hour from now, Rosalind and I would be packing for prison. What brings you... I really do need to get back. I put my hand low on my stomach. I'm having a little female trouble. I tried to look very female and mysterious, slightly troubled by internal things that they could not imagine and did not want to. It had been my experience for nearly a year that uttering the words female trouble could get me into places I wanted to go and out of places I didn't. "Oh," said Zach, "well, let's go." "Nice to meet you, Mr. Forrest," I said, clutching my abdomen, a small wince, walking slowly to the door. "Believe me, Lily," he said, calling after me, "the pleasure was all mine." Have you ever written a letter you knew you could never mail, but you needed to write it anyway? Back in my room at the Honey House, I wrote a letter to T-Ray, during which I broke the points off 3 pencils, and the words, well, they looked like they'd been laid on the paper with branding irons. "Dear T-Ray, I am sick to death of you yelling at me. I am not deaf. I am only stupid for calling you up. If you were being tortured by Martians and the only thing that could save you was telling them my favorite color, you would die on the spot. What was I thinking? All I had to do was remember the Father's Day card I made for you when I was 9 and still hoping for love. Do you remember it? Well, of course you don't. I do, because I nearly killed myself working on it. I never told you I was up half the night with a dictionary looking up words to go with letters and daddy. I got the idea, not that you're interested, from Mrs. Poole, who had us do this in Sunday school with the word joy. J, Jesus. O, others. Y, yourself. This is the correct order for life, she said, and if you follow it, you will have joy, joy, joy. Well, I tried that, putting myself last, left and right, and I'm still waiting for joy to show up. So the exercise was good for nothing except for giving me the idea for your card. I thought if I spelled out the meaning of daddy to you, it would help you along. I was trying to say, here, try these things. I will so appreciate it. I used words like delightful, determined to be kind. I expected it to get propped on your dresser, and the next day I find it on the telephone table where you have peeled a peach on top of it, and the skin and pit are stuck to the paper. I've always wanted to say to you, that was despicable. D, despicable. A, angry. D, dud of a father. D, disappointment. Y, yoke around my neck. Writing this is not the Jesus, others, yourself philosophy of life, but it brings me joy to finally say these things to your face. Love, Lily. P.S. I do not for 1/2 second believe my mother left me. I read the letter back, then tore it into tiny pieces. I felt relief to get it all out of my system, but I had lied about it bringing me joy. I almost wanted to write another letter that I would not send and say I'm sorry. That night, when the pink house was sound asleep, I came creeping in, needing the bathroom. I never worried about finding my way through the house, as August left a trail of nightlights on from the kitchen to the bathroom. I had come barefoot, collecting dew on the soles of my feet. Sitting on the toilet trying to pee very quietly, I could see crepe myrtle petals stuck to my toes. Over my head, Rosalind's snores sifted through the ceiling. It's always a relief to empty your bladder. Better than sex, that's what Rosalind said. As good as it felt, though, I sincerely hoped she was wrong. I headed toward the kitchen, but then something made me turn around. Your guess is as good as mine. I walked in the opposite direction to the parlor. Stepping inside, I heard a sigh so deep and satisfying that for a moment I didn't realize it had come from my own lungs. The candle in the red glass beside the Mary statue still burned, looking like a tiny red heart in a cave of darkness, pulsing out light to the world. August kept it going night and day. It reminded me of the eternal flame they'd put on John F. Kennedy's grave that will never go out no matter what. Our Lady of Chains looked so different late at night, her face older and darker, her fist bigger than I remembered. I wondered about all the places she'd traveled out there on the waters of the world, all the sad things that had been whispered to her, the things she'd endured. Sometimes after we'd done our prayers with the beads, I could not remember how to cross myself right, getting it mixed up like you would expect any Baptist-raised person to do. Whenever that happened, I just put my hand over my heart like we did in school for the Pledge of Allegiance. I felt one was as good as the other, and that's what happened now. My hand just went automatically to my heart and stayed there. I told her, "Fix me, please. Fix me. Help me know what to do. Forgive me. Is my mother all right up there with God? Don't let them find us. If they find us, don't let them take me back. If they find us, keep Rosalind from getting killed. Let June love me. Let T-Ray love me. Help me stop lying. Make the world better. Take the meanness out of people's hearts." I moved closer, so now I could see the heart on her chest. In my mind, I heard the bees fanning their wings down in the dark music box. I saw August and me with our ears against the hive. I remembered her voice the first time she told the story of Our Lady of Chains. Send them rescue, send them consolation, send them freedom. I reached out and traced Black Mary's heart with my finger. I stood with the petals on my toes and pressed my palm flat and hard against her heart. I live in a hive of darkness, and you are my mother, I told her. You are the mother of thousands. End of chapter 8.